Did you know that your unconscious psyche may already know who the love of your life is, long before your conscious mind catches up? Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant psychologists in history, discovered insights about love and attraction that can completely transform how we see relationships. His findings suggest that love is not just about compatibility, preference, or coincidence. It is guided by forces deep within us, hidden in the unconscious, shaping who we are drawn to and why. What you are about to read may make you reconsider past and present relationships. It may even explain why some connections, though perfect on paper, left you with an unexplainable emptiness, while others instantly felt like home. According to Jung, there is an invisible magnet within the psyche that draws you toward the person, meant to complete a profound process of growth he called individuation. This isn't mere romance, it's about becoming whole. Jung described this magnet as the anima and animus. In every man there exists an unconscious feminine essence, the anima. In every woman there exists an unconscious masculine element, the animus. These inner counterparts are not abstractions. They are powerful archetypal forces that influence attraction, relationships, and ultimately the path of psychological development. They act as invisible guides, shaping whom you recognize as the one. Here's the unsettling truth. Most people ignore these signals. Instead, they chase what they think they want: status, looks, convenience, while neglecting what their soul actually needs. And when that happens, relationships remain shallow, unfulfilling, and incomplete. Jung's work shows us that recognizing these deeper patterns can be the difference between fleeting romance and truly transformative love. Over decades of clinical work, Jung observed that people who encountered the true love of their lives experienced unmistakable signs, signals most overlook or misinterpret. These are not fantasies nor mere coincidences. They are manifestations of archetypal forces embedded in the deepest layers of the psyche. The first sign is the activation of your archetypal counterpart, the anima in men or the animus in women. This is far beyond ordinary compatibility. Think about it. Many people can spend years with you, caring for you, and perhaps even loving you, but never awaken your deeper essence. Yet sometimes, from the very first meeting, someone feels strangely familiar, as if you've known them forever. You may even feel as though you've finally come home after wandering lost. This resonance is not superficial attraction. It is the activation of the unconscious. On a neurological level, Jung suggested that the love of your life stimulates dormant aspects of your personality, awakening qualities you didn't know existed. A man might suddenly discover tenderness and emotional depth he once suppressed. A woman might uncover resilience, confidence, or leadership she never realized she possessed. It feels like someone has unlocked a hidden door inside of you. But here's the paradox: this awakening is not always comfortable. In fact, it can be deeply unsettling. Jung explained that when such archetypes are triggered, the psyche undergoes a reorganization he called a complex constellation. Imagine someone entering your psychological home and rearranging the furniture without asking. You feel both fascination and fear. This person has the power to transform you in ways you cannot fully control, and that is the essence of true love. It changes you. It demands growth, challenges comfort zones, and shakes the very foundations of your personality. Many people retreat at this stage, fearing the intensity of such transformation, but those who embrace it discover a love that is not only passionate, but also life-changing. The second sign Jung emphasized is the integration of the shadow. Every human being carries a shadow, the aspects of themselves they deny, suppress, or reject. The shadow includes not only negative traits like jealousy, anger, or selfishness, but also hidden talents, passions, and strengths buried under years of fear or conditioning. The shadow does not disappear when ignored. Instead, it gains power in the unconscious, sabotaging relationships in subtle but destructive ways. According to Jung, most conflicts between partners are not really about the surface-level arguments, money, chores, habits, but about unintegrated shadows projected onto the other person. Here's where the love of your life is different. Unlike others who might run from your shadow, criticize it, or judge it, the person truly meant for you will see it and stay. More than that, they will help you integrate it into your conscious life in a healthy way. They don't just tolerate your flaws, they help transform them into strengths. Imagine this: your tendency to be critical, which may have harmed past relationships, suddenly becomes a valuable gift when directed constructively. Your stubbornness, once labeled a flaw, is revealed as determination and resilience. Your sensitivity, which once caused pain, becomes the very source of empathy and deep connection. This is not about finding someone who excuses destructive behavior. Instead, it's about meeting someone who helps you recognize and embrace every part of yourself, even the sides you hide. Their presence encourages growth and acceptance, not shame. But beware, this also means such a person will challenge your ego. They won't let you remain in denial about your flaws. They will confront you, not aggressively, but in ways that push you toward growth. This may not always feel comfortable, but it is never destructive. Rather, it is the kind of confrontation that expands you, making you more whole. If you find someone who can witness your shadow, accept it, and even guide you toward transforming it, pay attention. That connection may be one of the clearest signs of true love. Jung's insight into love was never about shallow romance or surface-level attraction. He saw love as an alchemical process where two individuals come together and both are transformed. The love of your life is not just someone who makes you feel good. It is someone whose presence awakens you, challenges you, integrates your hidden self, and calls you toward becoming the fullest version of who you are. So how do you recognize this love? You will feel both drawn and unsettled. You will sense familiarity, but also transformation. This person will see your shadow and not run. They will challenge you without destroying you. They will awaken dormant qualities and push you toward growth. And most importantly, their love will not leave you unchanged. This is why Jung's perspective on love is so powerful. It reveals that true love is not about finding someone perfect, but about finding the person whose very presence leads to your evolution. The love of your life is the one who helps you become more yourself than you ever thought possible. So if you've felt that strange mix of recognition and transformation with someone, if their presence awakens your hidden strengths and forces you to face your shadows, pay attention. It may not look like the fairy tales, but it could very well be the deepest and most transformative love of your life. It is an invitation to grow, to expand, and to become a more complete version of yourself. Jung observed that conflicts in such transformative relationships do not destroy the connection but deepen it. Both partners intuitively recognize that they are participating in a sacred process of mutual growth. The third sign is perhaps the most mysterious and powerful of all: synchronicity. Jung developed this concept after years of observing that certain seemingly unrelated events appeared to be connected by more than chance. He defined synchronicity as meaningful coincidences that reveal the presence of a deeper order in the universe, one that transcends simple cause and effect. When it comes to the love of your life, these synchronicities multiply and evolve into increasingly improbable forms. They are not just random encounters in a cafe or coincidental meetings. They are orchestrated sequences of events that defy rational explanation. as if the universe itself were conspiring to bring you together. Jung documented patients who experienced chains of synchronicities so precise that he calculated the statistical probability of their happening by chance. In some cases, the odds were 1 in several million. These events could be repeated meetings. In unlikely places, connections through third parties who had no idea of the deeper bond, or even dreams and premonitions that later unfolded in exact detail. But synchronicities tied to the love of your life carry unique characteristics. First, they tend to intensify during moments of crisis or when important relationship decisions must be made. Second, they often involve symbols or images that hold deep personal meaning for both people. Third, they sometimes emerge from sources completely unrelated to your conscious life, as if drawn from a greater archetypal reality. For Jung, such synchronicities were signs that you are aligned with your destiny, with what he called the archetypal self, the fullest and most authentic version of who you are. When you repeatedly experience meaningful coincidences connected to one person, your unconscious is sending a message. This individual plays a central role in your journey of individuation. Have you ever noticed that with some people, coincidences seem constant, as though the universe itself were keeping you connected? Encounters arise without planning, doors open where none existed, and moments unfold with a precision beyond logic. This suggests that a higher intelligence is orchestrating events to ensure that your paths cross. The fascinating part is that these synchronicities do not fade once you unite. Instead, they deepen, transforming into subtler, yet equally powerful forms of connection. You may begin to experience what Jung called mystical participation, a psychic bond that goes beyond rational explanation. Couples often find themselves having the same thoughts at the same time, far more frequently than chance would predict. They may share complementary dreams or intuitively sense each other's emotions with uncanny accuracy. Jung even documented couples separated by great distances who experienced the same physical sensations when the other was in danger or distress. This is not fantasy, but a phenomenon he studied meticulously over decades. Mystical participation is not codependency. It is a resonance, a shared frequency that allows you to perceive and respond to one another at levels deeper than words or gestures. The fourth sign connects to what Jung considered the crowning achievement of his work, the archetypes of the collective unconscious. These are universal patterns of behavior and experience shared by all humanity. Archetypes include the lover, the sage, the warrior, the mother, the father, the eternal child, the trickster, and many others. Most people activate only a handful of these archetypes in their lives, which leaves them feeling incomplete, as though playing only a few notes on a vast instrument. Life can feel repetitive, limited, or shallow. But when you encounter the love of your life, something extraordinary happens. This person acts like a master key, unlocking and harmonizing multiple archetypes within you. They awaken not just the lover, but perhaps also your inner sage, your fearless adventurer, your nurturer, or your creative artist. The presence of this person activates hidden potentials you never realized were there. Suddenly you may find yourself braver, wiser, more compassionate, more playful, or more creative, not because you are pretending, but because they bring out the deeper truths of who you already are. Jung noted that in truly transformative relationships, this activation is mutual. Each partner holds the secret key to unlock the other's dormant potentials. The relationship becomes a field of growth where both partners discover abilities they could not have accessed alone. Their combined intelligence surpasses their individual capacities, and their shared creativity, resilience, and problem-solving skills multiply exponentially. Think of it as a piano finally being played in its entirety. where once you heard only a few notes, now the full range of your personality resounds. The love of your life does not just accept who you are, they reveal who you are meant to become. The fifth and most profound sign is the unmistakable feeling that you are living your personal myth with this person. Jung believed each individual is born with a unique myth, a deep archetypal narrative that gives life meaning and purpose. Unlike stories we consciously invent, this myth emerges from the collective unconscious and silently shapes our development across a lifetime. Most people live unaware of their myth, drifting through life as if performing in a play without knowing the script. They act without understanding the greater narrative of which they are a part. But when you meet the love of your life, suddenly the fragments align. The story of your existence begins to make sense in ways beyond logic. This person does not simply fit into your life. They reveal the story you were always meant to live. Together you step into a myth larger than yourselves, one that feels destined, purposeful, and transformative. You are no longer wandering actors. You have found the role that completes the play. This is the final and clearest sign. When the love of your life arrives, you recognize that every struggle, every longing, every coincidence has been leading to this connection. And from that moment forward, you are not just living, you are embodying your myth fully and authentically. The sixth sign is the emotional transparency without fear. This is another unmistakable sign that you've found the love of your life, is emotional transparency. In ordinary relationships, people wear masks, hiding their vulnerabilities to avoid judgment or rejection. But with the right person, those masks fall away. You feel safe to reveal your shadows, your fears, and even the parts of yourself you dislike. Jung emphasized that true intimacy requires the integration of the shadow, the aspects of the psyche we usually repress. In the presence of the love of your life, you'd no longer feel the need to hide those parts. Instead, you find acceptance, compassion, and understanding. This creates a powerful dynamic. The more you share, the stronger the bond becomes. Transparency without fear means you can argue without losing respect, confess insecurities without shame, and show raw emotions without being misunderstood. This level of openness marks a love that is rooted in authenticity rather than illusion. The seventh and final sign is perhaps the most subtle, yet the most transformative. The sense that time bends around your connection. Ordinary moments together feel extraordinary, and even silence becomes nourishing. Hours can pass like minutes in each other's company, and separation can feel strangely unreal, as though part of you is missing. Jung believed such experiences occur when two psyches resonate at a deep archetypal level, creating what he called a union of opposites. In this union, the tension of daily life dissolves into a sense of wholeness. The nervous restlessness of ordinary relationships is replaced with calm certainty, an inner knowing that you are exactly where you are meant to be. This timeless quality does not mean there are no challenges, but even difficulties are experienced differently. Instead of destabilizing the relationship, they feel like opportunities to grow closer. Time, instead of eroding the bond, strengthens it. When you experience this kind of peace with someone, you are not merely in love, you are home. The connection transcends attraction, companionship, or even passion. It becomes a state of being, an alignment with the deepest rhythms of life itself. Together, these two final signs, emotional transparency and timeless peace, complete the picture of what Jung described as a transformative archetypal love. The presence of the right person does something extraordinary to your life. Suddenly, your story feels richer, more meaningful, and more complete. It is as though you had only been living half of your myth until now. And in meeting this person, the full narrative finally reveals itself. Carl Jung observed that when two people discover this mythical resonance, they experience what he called the union of opposites. This union is not about being identical or sharing every thought and desire. It is not the absence of differences, but rather the harmonious way in which differences complement one another, creating something far greater than the sum of two individual lives. This realization does not imply that your life so far lacked meaning or value. Instead, it suggests that every step, every chapter, every victory and defeat has prepared you for this encounter. Your deepest pains, your most devastating failures, and your most luminous successes all reveal themselves as necessary stages on the path toward this moment. What once seemed like meaningless suffering suddenly transforms into wisdom. Loss is reframed as preparation. Even loneliness is understood differently, as the sacred time during which you cultivated the strength required for such a connection. Jung described this as individuation, the lifelong process of becoming who you are truly meant to be. For many, this process reaches its greatest intensity through the encounter with a significant other, the one who acts as a catalyst for the fullest unfolding of potential. This person is not simply a companion, but the one who activates the parts of your psyche still waiting to be expressed. Have you ever felt that being with someone makes your life take on a deeper, almost mystical meaning? As if all the scattered fragments of your past experiences suddenly align into a coherent, beautiful pattern? As if this person is not merely an addition to your journey, but the missing piece that makes your existence whole. Yet Jung emphasized something crucial. To truly recognize the love of your life requires a rare degree of self-awareness and emotional honesty. Most people avoid this depth. It is easier to remain at the surface, distracted by shared hobbies, physical attraction, financial stability, or social approval, than to acknowledge the archetypal depths of a true connection. Many run from true love because it demands too much growth, too much transformation, too much honesty about who they really are beyond the mask society has taught them to wear. Archetypal love does not allow you to remain small, comfortable, or hidden. It will continually challenge you to evolve, to confront your shadows, and to integrate the parts of yourself you have long tried to control or suppress. Such love requires surrender, the courage to let go of the illusion of control over your life and identity. It calls for trust in processes beyond the grasp of rational understanding. It requires faith in transformations you cannot consciously direct. Ask yourself, are you ready for this kind of change? Are you prepared for someone to see your vulnerabilities, your flaws, your fears, and not withdraw, but instead love you more deeply because of them? Are you ready to extend the same gift to another? If the signs of such a connection appear in your life, Jung would caution you not to ignore them. Do not dismiss them out of fear or cling to familiar patterns that keep you trapped in smaller versions of yourself. For your unconscious is always speaking, whispering truths about your destiny and your individuation. When these signs emerge, they are pointing you toward a version of yourself you may not yet fully imagine. For Jung, love was never just a fleeting feeling that rises and falls with circumstances. He saw it as an archetypal force, a transformative energy capable of reshaping the very structure of your psyche, guiding you toward the realization of your highest potential. Such a force cannot be manipulated or manufactured. It cannot be reduced to convenience or strategy. It can only be recognized, honored, and accepted when it authentically arises. What might surprise you is that the deepest connections rarely begin with the dramatic romance we expect from stories or films. They often emerge in quieter, more unexpected ways. Sometimes they grow out of friendship. Sometimes they appear in the midst of conflict, where deeper commonalities reveal themselves. At times, They blossom when both people are entirely focused on something other than romance. True love does not always announce itself with fireworks. It reveals itself slowly like a sunrise, gradually turning darkness into light. But make no mistake, these signs do not guarantee ease. In fact, Jung found that the most profound connections often involve greater challenges, greater conflicts, and greater demands for growth than superficial relationships. Yet what they offer in return cannot be found elsewhere. They provide the opportunity to become your fullest, most authentic self. When the love of your life enters, archetypes awaken. Your anima or animus is activated, bridging inner opposites. Your shadow begins to integrate in healthy ways. Synchronicities multiply, guiding you along invisible pathways of meaning. You feel the living pulse of your personal myth. This is not ordinary love. It is a sacred calling toward transformation. Fear may tempt you to resist. Comfort may persuade you to settle for less. Doubt, whether from within or from others, may try to convince you that you are unworthy of such depth. But your psyche knows what you need for your evolution. Your soul already recognizes the truth, even when your mind struggles to accept it. At this crossroads, you face a choice. You can ignore these signs, clinging to safe but limiting patterns, or you can summon the courage to embrace transformation. Jung believed that meeting true love is, at its core, a meeting with the divine within yourself. It is the reconciliation of inner polarities, the realization of the archetypal self, the state of wholeness and integration for which your soul has always longed. Your unconscious already knows the answer. The only question that remains is, will you have the courage to listen? Will you act upon this deeper wisdom, even if it overturns everything you thought you knew about love? The signs are there, waiting to be recognized by those willing to look beyond appearances. Archetypes are stirring, ready to be integrated by those who dare to grow. Synchronicities are flowing, waiting for those who trust the wisdom of the universe. And your personal myth is unfolding, ready to be lived in its fullness. The love of your life is not simply someone who fits conveniently into your current situation. They are a portal, a gateway into the most authentic, complete, and powerful version of yourself. Without this transformative experience, you could never imagine who you are destined to become. This is the gift and the challenge of true love. It is not comfort, but transformation. Not escape, but awakening. Not an addition to your life, but the very key to becoming whole.